But
Yeah.
one of the important things that may be key to them beating some of these playoff teams is any deadline acquisitions. So that'll transition to this last topic. See how I did the segue? Let's go. I still got it. I still got it. 2 months off. I still got it. We're here. All right. I'm going to let you go first here. I got one main guy that I want to talk about, and I want to hear what your guys is. I already know who's number one on your list. I've seen you freaking tweet about him every single day. So let's get it over with. Who is the guy that you most want the Red Sox to acquire before August 2nd this year is the trade deadline? I looked it up. That's a weird date for the trade deadline. You almost always hear it in July. But who do you want the Red Sox to go and get?
David Robertson, please.
Yes.
Please. I've been begging for this. I've been begging for this for 5 years now. 5. I've wanted David Robertson in Boston for so long. He's gone to the Yankees like 19 times since I started wanting him in Boston.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, even. I thought the Red Sox were going to swoop in and snag him last year. The fact he went to Tampa Bay like surprised the hell out of me. But this year, 1.86 ERA. He's got 9 saves. He's got a ton of familiarity in the AL East. I mentioned he's been a Yankee like 900 times. It's really only been twice, but it just feels like he's there all the time.
Agreed.
37 years old, so he's likely going to be on the cheap side. He's an expiring contract. He just oozes postseason experience. He's got a ton of it, and he's throwing the hardest he has since 2011. We're talking about a 37-year-old who's chucking his cutter like 95 miles an hour. That's the hardest, like I said, it's been since 2011. That is the guy I want, headlining just any possible move they could make. That is the one I want.
Especially because he's on the selling Cubs. Like, there's no chance. I think one of the interesting wrinkles for this trade deadline, to kind of spoil it, is just like, with this extra wild card team, this other wild card slot, teams may be more willing to say, you know what, let's take a shot at it. Let's kind of, and it's going to screw them because they're going to stay in like middling contention where they're not good, but they're not bad. And it'll take some real balls for a GM to be like, you know what, we are going to be sellers. And they'll get a king's ransom because I think there's going to be a lot more buyers than there usually is on the market this year. And it could drive up the price of some of these guys. So to take that, one of the guys that I'm interested in, I want to hear your opinion on this, is the guy that some people have rumored to have the Red Sox eye, if you will, which is Luis Castillo from the Reds. Get one more year of team control. I think that could be important, especially if you want to leverage some of these free agent guys. We know the story with the Red Sox. The main problem for them is how many free agents they have coming up at the end of the winter because Bloom decided to sign a lot of these guys to short-term deals, or he just hasn't extended some of the guys, like a Valdi, like a Bogarts. But that's another argument for another day. So your thoughts on Luis Castillo?
No, I would be on board. I would like to see what it would cost to get him. Like, I really like Luis Castillo. I think he's a really talented arm. I don't think starting pitching is necessarily a need of this team with Sale and Paxton coming back and Evaldi coming back. Like, they shouldn't need another starter. But, you know, for whatever reason, say Paxton, comes out, Paxton won't be ready until September. Or maybe they'll just punt on the prospect of having him come back because he wouldn't be able to pitch in the postseason or something like that. If there, for whatever reason, one of those two starters can't go at any point in this season, then I'd be down, especially since Castillo is such a high level arm with a lot of potential. But as far as where I'd put him on the list of guys that I would want, it'd probably be somewhere in like the back half of the top 10 if I had to come up with a list of 10. But it's not like if they traded for him, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, that's a high-level arm.
That was me with Hansel Robles last year.
And then it worked for some godforsaken reason.
Yeah, not working this year, but
you're
right.
Like, we're talking about a guy who's probably, when he's at his best, top 25 starter in baseball. So,
all right, one of the other guys that you have on your list here of 3.
The story of the offseason, or the story of the second half. If the Red Sox bring back Daniel Bard to exercise his
knew
demons.
You were going there too. I can read you, I can absolutely read you. I should have said that too.
Well, it helps that I tweet every thought that comes into my head.
That's a good point.
As soon as a player, and I didn't even realize how good of a season he was until I was researching his numbers for this show. 2.12 ERA. He's striking out over 30% of batters he's faced this year. We're talking about a dude who's putting up a phenomenal season in Colorado of all places. He's, like I said, exercises demons if he can get him into Boston. He's got 15 saves, which is huge. You got him some closing experience on a really bad team. And like I said, he's been here. Now would, for his sake, would I rather he doesn't get traded? Would I rather him not get traded to a big market and let him just kind of go to, like, one of those middling teams, like get traded to Toronto or get traded to, like, the Giants or just somewhere that's not Boston. Yes, for his sake, for my sake, and for the Red Sox sake, I hope to God they trade for him. And again, another guy who's in his late 30s, so he won't cost a ton. Like, it's not like you're getting David Bednar, who's not on my list, by the way.
I don't even know who that is. I'll be completely honest.
He's the Pirates closer.
Oh, okay, I got you.
He's not, so he's not going to command a ton, unless you want to package him in like CJ Cron, which I don't think they would do. He's also not on my list. I just don't think Bard would cost a lot. He's having a great year. He's really turned into a turbo sinker pitcher with a nasty slider. I'm on board with that. I almost want him more than I want David Robertson. I just want David Robertson because he's just been in the AL East a ton and, isn't...
he's been there, done that, and you have that
that
reliability at the back end. Yeah, exactly.
You've not had that with Bard.
All right, and the last guy that you have on your list, you haven't mentioned any outfielders yet. You've gone 2 pitchers. I still think outfield is a big need for this team. I just Googled a quick list of 5, so if you don't come up with one here, I can always go to it, but I want to see what your last guy is.
Yeah, it's not an outfielder. I don't necessarily... I'm not as down on this outfield as you are. I think Kike will be fine when he comes back. Just based on how he was trending when he got hurt, he looked like he was starting to turn a corner, and... with Verdugo, I think he just homered, by the way.
Yes. That's why he paused.
Yeah.
Breaking the 4th wall. We are recording during the game. This is what we do.
2-run home run in the top of the 6th. His 3rd home run in like the last 2 weeks. He's been crushing the ball.
Yeah, he's gone supernova.
Verdugo's had a fantastic season. I don't want his numbers to read too much into what people think of him. He's played really well. He's hit a lot of lineouts. He's had a lot of them, a ton of them. And then Jackie Bradley is Jackie Bradley. And I think if Rob Refsnyder can continue to hit at the level he's hitting at, you can just platoon the two, and Duran's been good. So they have options in the outfield. But my last guy I would put on my Red Sox trade targets list is Josh Bell. Put him at first base. He's a switch hitter.
That Tubbo? Oh my goodness.
Switch hitter. He's slashing 311, or at least entering play today. 311, 392, 495 with a 145 WRC plus. Switch hitter. His strikeout numbers are way down this year. He's been a guy who strikes out roughly 20% of the time for his career, I think. I can actually confirm that right now. I know a couple years ago he struck out a lot. His career strikeout rate is 18.2%. This year it's down to 13.3%. He's got 11 home runs. That would be 3rd on the Red Sox. He's got 15 doubles. That would be right up there near the top as well, because they hit doubles for days but no homers. They need power. They need a first base option that is putting the ball in play. And I know Franchy's been great, but if you can maybe slide him into the outfield and maybe get rid of Jackie Bradley, I know you suffer a bit on defense there, but you lengthen the lineup if you can put Franchy in right field, have Kike and Duran platoon center field or something, and Verdugo in left. And then, like I said, you have, the infield of Devers, Bogart, Story, and Bell. That's a deep lineup, and I'm on board with that 100%.
Martinez and Vasquez as well,
yeah. But
and Bell could spell Martinez, trying to think, kind of projecting forward here, if you wanted to put him at the DH spot. My only worry would be, and I don't know this, I know Bell is slow as all hell. Is he good defensively? Is he serviceable? Where does he match up? You want to talk about, let's say, Cordero, Dahlbeck. Is Bell somewhere in the middle of that?
Bell historically is a really bad first baseman. But this year, +3 defensive runs saved. Outs above average has liked him the last couple of years. I shouldn't say he's historically really bad. He was really bad when he was in Pittsburgh, but last year he was only -1 defensive run saved with 4 outs above average. This year, 3 defensive runs saved, 1 out above average. I would say I'd probably put him as a league average shortstop. Vasquez got out to short, so I said shortstop. Bell is a league average-ish defensive first baseman the last couple years, and he hits some tanks, man. That dude's got some light tower power for days. I know his power is down a little bit this year. He's at 11 home runs, but he hit 27 last year, hit 37 in 2019. He's got pop. And the Red Sox lack that in the lineup, especially since JD's Tony Gwynn now.